have just filed to support Ripple against the SEC case. What can you tell us about that?
So we've not only filed we filed an amicus brief, a friends of the court brief in supporting the Ripple litigation. We've also done it with the Grayscale ETP. And just broadly speaking, these are issues of, fair notice, meaning regulators need to give the market fair notice of expected conduct before they take an enforcement action. I think it's been very clear over the past 5 years, the rules have been unclear. It's not clear how to, what the SEC is asking for generally. In July, we actually filed a petition for rulemaking, which is very unusual for an entity to ask a regulator to be regulated. And the reason we did that is because there's a lot of uncertainty on where different regulators have authority. And what's missing today is a digital asset securities market. There is no way to tokenize equity or debt, trade it, or issue it. There's no rule set that exists today under the SEC's purview to pursue that. And there's a lot of ambiguity on whether or not the SEC should have authority over commodities. And that's what the DCCPA is trying to help draw the line, and what the CFTC's authority over commodity is and what the SEC's authority over securities is. And so the reason we file these amicus briefs is because all the policy as of today is being done in the courts, right? So the decisions the courts are going to make are going to help draw these lines. And so until we have affirmative notice and comment rulemaking at agencies and legislation passed to mandate that, our only recourse is to have this discussion, debate in the courts. And that's why we filed those amicus briefs in support of Ripple and Grayscale.
Amazing. Well, Scott, thank you so much for your time. It's
not just Coinbase, to be clear. It's Coinbase, the Blockchain Association, a couple other entities, all filed what are known as amicus briefs, or friends of the court briefs, basically asking the court for permission to join the case and say, hey, we have valuable information that the SEC and Ripple have not yet shared. We believe that it would help the court, the judge, make a decision on this case by allowing us to participate and share this information. So Coinbase filed theirs last night. Blockchain Association filed theirs on Friday night. We saw Spend the Bits, which is a payment app that uses XRP, file one. We saw John Deaton, an attorney who has been following this case, file one. Basically, right now is the time for everyone who wants to participate saying, okay, well, we believe that there are important issues that are not being discussed, and we would like to weigh in. Coinbase took a pretty exhaustive view on how the SEC has been approaching the case. They had an amicus brief yesterday where they basically complained that the SEC has not provided any kind of clear guidance, and so the industry is kind of left to look around enforcement actions and things like that. They said that the SEC has not produced any actual guidance, which I think it's a debatable claim, but for the purposes of the XRP litigation, I think that's fair. And basically they said, a summary judgment on the SEC's case would not serve the industry. It would not serve the investing public. And now they're just hoping that a judge will say, okay, yeah, I believe that you have, valid grounds to join as a friend of the court, and we will look at your brief.
Now the whole world just realized that an XRP win needs to happen. That's because if Ripple loses, then the whole crypto world will be next. In fact, the most interesting thing that's currently happening is the hashtag Gary Gensler resign is trending. Can you believe that? If Gensler thought going after XRP will show his reign is way better than that of Hinman, he was absolutely wrong. The crypto world is now banding up against him. Twitter crypto enthusiasts are also ganging up against him. And in the middle of all that, Ripple is flourishing. Guys, if you don't have any XRP in your wallet, then you will miss the next bullish market. As always, welcome to Moneyside, your favorite crypto channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you get updates when we drop new videos. And don't forget to smash that like button. And remember, you can always leave a comment or question in the section below. Granted, the hashtag Gary Gensler resign seems a bit too harsh on the poor guy, but I believe that it's time Gary admits his mistakes. Of course, I don't want to see him jobless, and that's not a fate I would wish for anyone, including him. But let's be honest, Gensler should admit his mistake and forge a different future for the SEC. So as much as I'd like this hashtag to trend, it's best to refrain from it. Action is already being taken in court, and I believe this time the justice system is on our side. And that's not all. Tech giants such as Coinbase, Blockchain Association, and Spend the Bits also joined in the fight against the unruly behavior of the SEC. Even though we might not get a lot from the currently mounted defense, these crypto companies will expose a lot of what's happening behind the curtains. And their amicus briefs will likely lead to the landslide win of Ripple. So guys, if you're waiting for a sign to invest in XRP, you now have one. John Deaton, that's a name we've heard often enough in court, and he's shed a lot of light. He recently replied to Decrypt's tweet, which stated, "People have given up on us because we haven't taken those steps to work in good faith," says at SEC Gov Commissioner Hester Pierce. John's reply was, "This is what I said the first moment I read the @Ripple XRP complaint. I said the SEC lacks good faith to argue that each and every sale of XRP made by anyone from the beginning of time until the end of the world is a security. It is an absurd argument that they will lose." And that's true. The SEC can already smell it's losing, and unfortunately it's going to happen in front of the whole world. Never bet against the crypto world, and Ripple is crypto's future. Once this case is out of the way, the crypto world will be set to flourish like never before, thanks to XRP and Ripple. So, do you think Gensler should resign? And will Ripple win this case? Share your thoughts down below. I'll look forward to reading them. And always trade safely, guys.
Today's global financial system is more complex than ever before. Yet as the world's economies grow, the infrastructure they rely on needs to evolve. Every nation has its own independent monetary policy and regulatory standards. But with varying system access and legacy technology, the world's financial infrastructure can seem overwhelming. At Ripple, we enable governments and central banks around the world to create new, high-performance financial infrastructures built on blockchain technology. More specifically, we help governments build and launch central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. They are national currencies powered by modern technology that is secure, centralized, and scalable. And these CBDCs will enable central banks to implement their monetary policies in more efficient and effective ways. The Ripple team brings a wealth of expertise to every new CBDC solution, working with hundreds of financial institutions, policymakers, and regulators. Our solutions facilitate billions of dollars in cross-border payments around the globe. Ripple's CBDC solution is based upon one of the most reliable, sustainable, and open-source blockchain protocols, the XRP Ledger, XRPL. The XRP Ledger technology is perfect for CBDC blockchain applications. It's fast, with transactions complete in 2 to 3 seconds. It's easily customizable and programmable. It's reliable, having closed over 72 million ledgers since 2012. The ledger's native functionality for issuing digital currencies also reduces the need for bespoke programming and reduces risk. Finally, the technology is sustainable as one of the first carbon-neutral blockchains. Each pilot is completely customizable and shaped to the needs of the central bank by an expert team. Here's how it works. Each nation's CBDC is hosted on a private version of the XRP Ledger. Access by participants is granted by...
So John, taking that into consideration, I know that we recently saw Jeremy Hogan suggest that if there was going to be a settlement, he thought it might happen by the end of the year. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I read somewhere that 90% of all SEC cases end in a settlement. And if that's correct or not, but do you think that is where we end up, or do you think this thing is going to go to the judge? How do you think this thing ends up?
If there was going to be a settlement, it would be from within 90 days of when they were forced to turn over the documents. And so my timeline agrees with Jeremy Hogan in that sense. ongoing and future sales of XRP by Ripple and in the secondary market are not secured. That if they don't get that, there's not a settlement. If they get that, there's a settlement within minutes. I mean, I'm paraphrasing Stuart Alderati, but he basically said, not to me, to the world, that a settlement happens very quickly if that happens. And if I'm advising Gary Gensler, I'm saying, look, these emails definitely are going to cause issue. We can seal all of this up right now in a settlement. Also, we're really going to lose, Gary. We're going to lose. Let's see if Ripple will pay, let's pick $100 million. Let's take that victory. We can narrow it and say that, each crypto is fact and circumstances. And just because XRP is not a security, and that doesn't mean the others aren't. And we can still go after each other one. To me, I'd be in Gary's ear saying, you can get on TV instead of talking about Kim Kardashian with $1.3 million, dude, you can get up there and say that you held this company responsible. There's one of these big fintech companies. You got $100 million in addition to the $100 million you got from BlockFi. You're holding these companies accountable. You can just spin it politically. You can imagine all the spin masters. It would make us vomit, right? Personally, to hear him spin it into a victory, but he could.
At the end of the day, isn't the risk greater to them to let it go to a decision and lose than to have to do what you just said and settle and have to spin it? Because they're going to look like winners no matter what. And Ripple's going to write a check, and Ripple's going to, even when Ripple writes a check, they're going to know that they won as well. I mean, but would you agree that it's a greater risk for the SEC to run it to the end and lose?
Absolutely. And the only answer I can come up with is that he's pushed it this far because he needs a victory. And if he can get a victory, he can then say, look, I was right. These cryptos are securities. But that's why somebody has got to get into his head and his ear and make him pay attention to the fact that they're not going to win at summary judgment. The SEC, there's no way Judge Torres is going to grant them summary judgment based on the way they pled the case. The XRP affidavits that Ripple submitted, which is almost 3,000 affidavits that talk about non-investment use, not knowing who Ripple was when they acquired XRP, those are factual issues that a jury could decide. If they're going to go with this theory that every acquisition or purchase of XRP is a security, then that means there's no non-investment utility behind XRP. Well, we all know that's not true. So they're gonna lose, and the best they can hope for is the judge says, well, we gotta have a jury trial on certain issues. If you're a politician and you're giving a guaranteed victory, public victory, or your enforcement lawyers are saying there's like an 80 to 90% chance we're gonna lose, Gary. What does the politician do, right? He takes the guaranteed political win. And so that what makes me think that it should say.
Please keep in mind, we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. You can always let us know what you think in the comment section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you so very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.